he says, and I quote, treat every day of your relationship as if it was the first. So that's tip number 3. Always the first. I'll say it one more time so you can really let that sink in. Treat every single day of your relationship as if it was the first. Welcome back to Gaming About Life, the channel where we play video games, we talk about life, and we hopefully learn something new every single day, every single episode, and you know that we can use on our everyday life to live it better, to live it happier, to become better ourselves. Welcome back to another series of Gaming About. This episode, it is about something that's very dear to me, which is relationships. How to improve your relationship. Obviously, disclaimer, I'm no professional in that area. These are just my personal opinions and experiences on the matter. So, you know, just take that as you as you will. First things first. I'm gonna give you guys 5 tips on how to improve your relationship. So if you guys want to write them down, it'll be very handy, I think, because these are things that, as I tell them, hopefully you understand, you'll see that for me, they changed a lot, in my life. I'm playing Final Fantasy, I forgot to mention Final Fantasy X. Normally when I play this game, I tend to play it when I'm talking about a very, like, not specific, but a very heavy topic and a very broad topic, like this one. So that's why, you know, we're just gonna farm. It's like a little more calm rather than just like a full-on shoot like Left 4 Dead or something. But anyways, let's get to the point. First tip, and I think this is the most important one, honestly. Like, I've just been saying this for all my life, really. Obviously, and I've gotten better at it as time went by, but still. Communication. I believe that there is nothing more important in having a healthy relationship than communication. And let me tell you why. Wow, I got one shot. Wow. Okay. Anyways. Through having proper, healthy communication, you can do anything else. You can literally do anything else. Is this, yeah, for life. So here's an example. Oh, here are some examples. Through proper communication, you can set the path, the direction where the relationship is going, where the specific situation is going. So, for example, the most common example, discussions. You know, discussions about silly little things like, I don't know, you left, you know, your girlfriend is mad at you because you left clothes in the bed, or because you left your shoes in front of the door, or your boyfriend's mad at you because you didn't tell him you were going out, or like silly things. At least to me personally, again, I think they're silly. It happens, of course, but nonetheless, seems silly. When you have good communication, when you can, I'm gonna die here, when you can properly communicate with your partner, and also another little disclaimer, I'm gonna use, yeah, I'm dead here, so I'm just gonna talk. And I use the word partner because here in Australia, we call our boyfriends, girlfriends, or, well, even husband and wife, like, we call them partners, you know, like your love partner or whatever, just partner. And I don't think in America or anywhere else you guys use that term. So if you hear it every now and then, just try to remember that I'm talking about girlfriend, boyfriend, your loved one, etc. So when you have good communication with your partner, you can literally do anything. When you guys when you guys are going through a situation, if you can at that exact moment realize that you're going through something that it's causing discomfort for you both, and eventually causing a discussion, stop at that exact moment. Both of you take a breather and sit down to communicate. Just the fact that you can stop yourself and say, okay, let's communicate better. Let's actually sit down and talk about this, instead of just, letting our emotions flurry and, anger, frustration, jealousy, or whatever you may be feeling come out. That's a very important thing. That would increase the quality of your relationship a lot. And let me go further into that by, I'll just cast a spell here. Also, I died because the Marlboro, that's the name of the monster, did a whole bunch of things and I couldn't move and I couldn't do anything. Pretty much when you get him, it's like, unless you can act first, you're pretty much dead. But anyways, so communicating is extremely important, because as I just said, when you get angry, when you get annoyed, when you get frustrated by something, if you don't have a proper control over your feelings, over your emotions, you're gonna just, throw them all out. And maybe you understood something wrong. Maybe your partner didn't know about this thing that you're talking to them about. Maybe they forgot, like you forget many things. Maybe they just don't feel or think the same way about this specific thing. So try to understand that there are so many variables in a certain situation, that just letting all your feelings out at once and trying to tell them, try to fix the problem, like, oh, you did this and I think that was wrong, or I think that was bad, or that blah blah, like, that's not the way. That doesn't solve the problem. That just, if anything, that just throws more wood into the fire. It just fuels the flame of the heated argument, and most likely they're not going to get anywhere. So communication, I think, is the number one most important thing, because you can, through communication, you can set the guidelines for the things that you want and that your partner wants, the things that you guys believe in, so your beliefs. You can talk about your standards, your expectations, or your similarities, your differences. Through communication, through sitting down, at least like for an hour, 30 minutes a day, and talking about these things will improve the quality of your relationship like I can't even measure it. Obviously, there's a lot of people thinking, oh, but I can't communicate with my partner because, when I say this, when I bring this up, they get angry or, are upset and they don't want to talk about it. Then you have two options, in my opinion. You can either leave it be and live with that bitterness and knowing that, oh, I can't even talk to my partner about this. That doesn't lead to a healthy relationship, but some people put up with it. I do not recommend it. And the other option is to talk to them and slowly talk to them, to slowly try to understand what is happening that is making them feel that way, or why they don't want to talk about it, and so on. Not pushing buttons, not forcing them to talk about it, just slowly, through love, through kindness, just be like, hey, could we talk today about this or that? It's like, and then they say no. It's like, okay, no, that's fine, I understand. You don't really want to talk about it. And just keep going little by little, every single day. If there comes to a point, like, on your third try or on your second try, they say, look, I don't ever want to talk about this, then one, I think that either the problem is very deep. It could be I don't know, some sort of trauma that they had in the past with something in their lives that really makes them uncomfortable to talk about it. Or they might just not be open-minded enough to realize that, wait a second, why am I not talking about this with my partner if it's something that bothers her or him? So you have the two options, not do anything about it, or slowly try to help them talk to you and communicate. So once again, communication is super crucial, because as I said, even during times where you think like, oh, like we're not gonna go anywhere from here, if both of you can sit down to talk properly and just, you know, really just open up yourself to solve this issue, then I guarantee you that everything's gonna get better, you know. And look, it might not always lead into the way that you want. So for example, you might talk to a partner, and you might be having a really good conversation, and you might arrive at a point that you're like, wow, we actually don't fit, you know, for each other. I don't think it was gonna work out. Look, it might hurt, it might be horrible, but my goodness, think about it. Would you have rather let it linger and continue over the long term and not be as happy as you can be? Or would you rather cut it down right now and have plenty of time to recover and get into a new relationship that hopefully is, you know, a lot better? Just think of the long term. Don't think on the short term. Think of the long term. What can you do long term that will consistently move your relationship in a good direction, in a healthy direction? So one more time, communication. That's tip number one. Please, 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 please. You know, go to Google and search different ways on how to speak with your partner. Like, you know, what are some things that you can say that would help them kind of feel more relieved and feel more open-minded to share, and feel more open. Like, look, the internet is out there for you know, amazing things that you can do. So there's no excuse for you to say that, oh, I don't know how to talk, I don't know how to say these things. Like, there's no excuse, you know. And obviously you learn through experience too, so there's that. So that's tip number one. Tip number two, as I wrote it down here, this is super, I mean, all of these are super important, and I say this because as I'm saying these, I'm remembering to my past relationships. I'm like, if I applied this, I could have avoided so much, you know. But everything happens for a reason. We learn when we're ready to learn, and so on and so forth. Second tip, don't ask them to change. Don't do it. Would you like your partner to come to you and just say, look, you gotta change, you gotta, you know, do this, or act like this, or be like that, or like this, and not talk to that person, or because I want you to, because XYZ. Would you feel comfortable hearing that? I highly doubt it. If you're open-minded enough to be like, to take it as like, you know, oh, there's a deeper, you know, reason behind it, sure. But in general, nobody would like to hear that. So if you don't like to hear it, why would you ever say it? Maybe not in those exact same words, but why would you say it to your partner? It's tough. It's tough because there are a lot of things that we want, that we kind of expect the other person to do, you know, to do, or to how you expect them to be for us, and that by itself is not exactly a healthy thing, because if you go into a relationship with expectations of how that person should be and how they should treat you, you're kind of already taking it the wrong way. But I'm gonna talk about that as the tip number 4, I think. Anyways, so don't ask them to change. Look, it's totally fine if you want them to be better, if you want them to, you know, do things that you think will improve, will make them happier, will make them, you know, more lively, whatever. It's totally fine. It's amazing that you want to do that. But don't ask them to change. Instead of asking them to change, talk to them. Again, tip number 1, communication. Talk to them and tell them, look, you know, I'm not gonna ask you to change because you're you. I love you for who you are. You know, I like that. That's why I'm together with you, because I like you for who you are. But there are some things that I think that in my head, it would make you feel better this way, or it would help you with this. And talk to them about it. You know, if your partner has a habit that you don't like, or they act a certain way that you think makes them, you know, more stressed, or makes them less healthy, you know, physically or even emotionally or even spiritually too. Don't ask them to change. Don't tell them like, oh, you should do this or you should do that, or you know, you should stop doing this or that. That doesn't get you anywhere. It just makes them feel attacked, makes them feel offended, makes them feel like you don't like them from who they are. And again, it's totally fine if you think that there's something that they could change to make them feel better and live better. That's totally fine.
Light shines strong.
But
Magic's begun.
don't ask them to change. Just talk to them and share your opinion. And maybe they will realize that they're like, oh, you know what, that's a good point. I can understand what you're thinking. And I think I'll try it. Or they can be like, actually, no, I think that, I like acting this way, or I can't see it yet, what you're trying to tell me. And that's fine too. That's when it comes back to tip number 1, communication. Keep communicating. Keep seeing where, if you can reach a middle ground, if you can reach a point where you both understand, each other, and then take decision on, based on that. So tip number 2, don't ask them to change. Help them. Help them try to understand what you're thinking, what your opinions are, from what you have learned in the past, what has worked for you. Just talk, communicate, and always be nice, be kind, use nice words, etc. There's also one thing, back to communication, a super crucial thing that, oh my goodness, I suffered through this so many times. Don't talk about problems and don't start discussions through text message. Heck, don't even call them. If you must, tell them that you need to talk about something, but even that's like that famous, like, oh, we need to talk. That is absolutely terrifying. But please don't don't try to solve problems through text or even through calls. Get together personally. If you're on a long distance, then there's not much you can do. But a video call is a lot better than a call, which is a lot better than texting. So there are some ways. So I would say video call if you really don't have any other way. But please get together, look at each other, feel each other. When you're in front of your partner, everything changes. There are so many things, this, and I know this too, I'm guilty of it, that there are so many things that we can only say when we text them because we don't have the courage to say it right in front of them. And that's not okay. To me, that's absolutely not okay, If it's in the beginning of a relationship or whatever, look, I understand, like, you're not comfortable enough with your partner, but damn, don't try to resolve anything through text message. Communication face to face, personally. Keep that in mind. So let's go to tip number 3. I have my little list here as always. This is an amazing tip. Like, I love this tip so much, and I wish I had heard this before when I was dating. This is by my greatest of all time mentor for me, number 1. And he says, hey, if you're enjoying the video so far, hit the like button so I know that you're enjoying it. Okay, let's get back to the video. Which is Tony Robbins, by the way. Wow, I got one shot again. He says, and I quote, treat every day of your relationship as if it was the first. So that's tip number 3. Always the first. I'll say it one more time so you can really let that sink in. Treat every single day of your relationship as if it was the first. Because what do we do on the first day of a relationship, on the first date or whatever? We are the most gorgeous human beings ever. We, the guys, we pull the chair back for, the girl to sit. We open the car door, we take out the trash, we wash the dishes, we buy them roses, we buy them little gifts, we send them a message every single day telling them how much we like them, how they're beautiful and this and that. We do so many things, and women, I'm pretty sure you do the same things as well. You dress up really nice, and you you act a certain way, and guys too act a certain way just because you're on that first day you want to impress and blah 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 blah. We all do it. Everybody's guilty of this. Everybody is guilty of this. So take that, the first date. Obviously, some first dates are terrible, but the concept of the first date. You want to try and impress a person, it's just like going for a job interview. Like, you're selling yourself. You want that person to hire you, to be with you. So you go an extra maybe extra, maybe even 3 times extra mile just for that first date. And then what happens after a few weeks, a few months, a year? They ask you to take out the trash. You're like, what? Do I look like you're a fucking janitor? You know, like, do I work for you? Or ask them to wash the dishes. It's like, I'm busy. You know, can't you see that I'm busy? Like, we create so many different like reasons not to do it. And terribly, and unfortunately, they're terribly horrible. They're bad. They're dumb reasons. They're excuses, should I say. But if you treat every day, let's go easy. If you treat like 5 out of 7 days, maybe even 4 out of 7 days of your relationship as if it was the first, how do you not see that being an immense benefit for you both? You know, obviously it doesn't, it can't just be one-sided, but if you start doing it by osmosis, your partner is gonna start acting like it too. Like, you're just both gonna be happy. It just makes sense. At least in my head, it makes sense. Hopefully, it's making sense to you too. So, I love that tip from Tony because it just, like I said, it just makes so much sense. Like, if I just act like it was the first day, then oh my goodness, every day is gonna be amazing. You know, you don't have to like buy expensive things, and you don't have to keep like spending money to go out and go to a restaurant every night or whatever. But man, that little extra effort that you would put on a first date, or if it's the first time like you're communicating with your partner or with the person that you want to be with, that goes a long way. You do it every single day. It's like it's building up. You build it up, and then suddenly like you got into the habit of treating every day as if it was the first day you seen them, you know, or the first day you woke up next to them, or the first day that you kissed. It's so simple, but it's so powerful. So please, tip number 3, always first. Always act like it's the first time you ever seen them, that you ever took them out on a date and whatnot. It's powerful. It's truly powerful. Moving along to tip number 4. I like this one a lot because I never knew about these things. Like, subconsciously, you know, you kind of understand it, you know it, but I didn't know it was an actual like thing. Which is learn your love language. So we have 5 different love languages. So they are, I'm just going to read it here so I make sure I don't mess up. Communication. So, you know, your love language might be communication, might be saying nice things, you know, talking, or even maybe like singing or something like that. Second love language is, words of affirmation. I was reading the other thing. Words of affirmation. That's one love language. Acts of service, that's another love language. So doing things for others, like, you know, giving them a massage or taking them out and stuff like that. Acts of service. Gifts is another love language. So giving gifts, buying things or making things, or even just like, you know, just giving them something, you know, whatever it may be. Physical touch is another act of is another type of love language. So, you know, hugs, kisses, you know, holding hands and sex and all these physical things. So that's another love language. And the last one is quality time. So there's a lot of people who really value, above all, quality time. You know, being next to your partner. You know, going out and spending time around the house. So, like, you know, quality time. So those are your 5 love languages. Discovering what is your love language will like exponentially improve the quality of your relationship, because number 1, you know how you communicate best, how you express your love the best. And technically, we have like one love language that we like, that we really resonate with the most, that we do the most. And then we have like a second one that's right up there, and then the third and the fourth, they kind of die down, that we don't really do them as much, and sometimes we don't even feel comfortable with them, which again is totally fine. So those are the 5 love languages. So discover yours and get your partner to discover hers too, or his too, because that way you find how both of you communicate best, and then that by itself should eliminate the whole expectation of like, are they gonna do this or that, or, you know, by by figuring out your love languages, you know how they're gonna react the most of the time towards you, and you can just what you call it? You can just work on that as well. You know, so for example, my love language has always been physical touch, so I absolutely love hugs and just like being next to each other, you know, sleeping together in bed or like on the sofa, kisses and just physical. That to me is the most important thing. I love it. I'm very physical. I love hugging. I love going out as well, and like holding hands and stuff. To me, that's mine. I know that. I've always known that. Only like now I've actually realized it's like a love language. So that's mine. I think my second one would probably be acts of service, and my third one would definitely be quality time. So acts of service, I like so much to go out and take my partner, you know, on trips and stuff like that. So acts of service being taking them out, but also, you know, giving them a massage or cooking for them, or you know, doing something that I can do, you know, physically for them, or you know, why not help them with something and whatever. So since I know that's my love language, when I get into a relationship, I know now that that's gonna be predominant. And if my partner is the same, then perfect. You have a beautiful match. You both are gonna be like together like freaking gum, you know, under your shoe. But if your partner has a different one, like let's say hers or his is like gifts, for example, it's kind of very far apart from physical, that's totally fine, because you know that they might not be too touchy. But if you can both communicate, again, tip number one, communicate. That's why I said it's super important. If you can both communicate and come to an agreement that like, okay, look, I'm very touchy and this is how I express my love. What are you comfortable with? Like, do you maybe not like holding hands in public? Do you not like to you know, stay next to each other while we're watching a movie, like on the sofa or something? You prefer your own space. And as you communicate, see if you feel good with their opinions, and see if they feel good with their opinions, with your opinions of them. Like if you don't really like making gifts, or you don't have, you know, the ability to draw or write something or whatever, then tell them, look, I'm not really good at it, but I'll try it as best as I can because I know you value it. So if you have that communication, and if, you know, if it naturally fits, you know, if you both are a fit, then it doesn't matter if you're on both ends of a spectrum of love languages. You are both gonna come to a middle term where you both are gonna feel comfortable with each other, you know? And it's beautiful because you might even try different things. So it's, I don't know, I think learning your love language is one of the best things you can do as well. And tip number 5, the last one, is grow together. Now look, it doesn't matter if you guys were high school sweethearts or whatever, or if you have, you know, so many similarities, or you just, you know, you just bond really well or whatever. It doesn't matter. Understand that you two are two different people. You are different people, okay? Sometimes no matter what you do, a lot of things are not going to change, at least at first, at second, or maybe, you know, after a long time. They might not ever change because you are two different people. You're gonna understand things differently. You're gonna think about things differently. You're gonna absorb things differently. So understand that. But growing together just means that you take the time to sit down and talk to your partner and be like, hey, I think we need to work on this. You know, I think we need to work on, I don't know, this business idea. We need to work on renovating the house. We need to work on raising our kids better, or grow together. It's totally fine, and it's actually really good to grow by yourself, to have your own personal time. I highly recommend it. But don't forget that you two are in this together. A relationship is a two-way street. It's a two-way lane, you know. It's not just a one-way where you take control of everything. You both have to grow together in order for the relationship to grow, because what makes a relationship is between two people. It just makes sense. So, recapping the 5 tips. Communication, which I think is the most important of them all. Not asking them to change, help them change. Talk to them about the things that you think are, you know, beneficial for them or whatnot. Always act like it's the first day You know, always act like it's the first day you ever saw them, that you ever kissed them and whatnot. Learn your love language. 4, learn your love language. That's super important. It's a lot of fun too. And grow together. So those are my 5 tips. There's also a thing, as I mentioned before, about expectations. I think expectations in general, they hardly ever lead to a good result, a good outcome. Even if you did get like the thing that you were expecting, I don't feel like it's really healthy. Me personally, I don't think it's very healthy. So if you can work on not creating expectations for your partner, even for yourself too, that would be very beneficial, because that way you just act neutral. You just, like, you know, if something good happens, then great, it happened, it's so good. But if something bad happened, then you're like, cool, you know, let's work on fixing this. So expectation is also a very important thing. So those are my 5 tips. I know I dragged this video quite long. It is, I think it's going like to 30 minutes now, as I see on my second screen. And I just died here. But please, if this helped, then let me know. Leave a comment down below, just saying like, oh, like tip number 1 was really good, or tip number 5, or like, I think actually, you know, I would love your feedback. It would be amazing to talk about these things, because I live for love, for relationships and everything, and helping you, of course. That's the whole objective of this channel. So if it helped, or if you just liked it and you just, I don't know, you just want to say thanks, just leave a thank you down below. I really appreciate it, so I know that you enjoyed it. And if there's anybody that you think that could benefit from these tips, share the video. Just copy the link, share it with them. You know, just spread the love, because I wish I knew these things about, or I wish I knew things even like 2 years ago. So if we can bring in more information, more points of view to people, then hopefully we can, you know, get a generation of more kindness, you know, of more love, and a more caring generation of people. So thank you so much for joining me here. I hope that you're having a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, if it made sense to you, if you learned something new, hit the like button down below. That helps me know that you enjoyed the video. If you didn't like it, leave the dislike button as well. That also helps me know what I need to do better. And if you want to see more videos like these, I post them every single day. Hit the subscribe button, so that helps me help you too. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.